So I want to start today with a notification that I'm pretty sure every single person listening has gotten.
Oh, I know this one.
Yeah, it usually pops up on Sunday morning. You pick up your phone, maybe you're still in bed, and it says, your weekly screen time report is available.
The weekly guilt notification.
Exactly. It feels like a report card for being a bad human. It says, you spent 6 hours and 40 minutes on your phone yesterday. And just my stomach drops. I think about my kids, my own brain.
It's the universal anxiety of the 21st century. We treat those minutes like they're radioactive. If the number goes up, we failed.
We failed. And if it goes down, we're virtuous.
We're good.
But here's why we're here today. We have a source that suggests this entire framework, the counting, the panic, the guilt, it's all based on a completely flawed premise.
Not just wrong, but a logical fallacy. It's what philosophers would call a category error.
Right. Today we're doing a deep dive into an article by Ryan Collison from his Kids Are All Right series on Money Sex Nerd. The title is Screen Time Panic is a Category Error. And I have to say, reading this, it didn't just make me feel better. It made me feel like I've been trying to solve a puzzle using the wrong pieces for, like, 10 years.
It's a really provocative argument. Collison basically says asking how much screen time is okay is a nonsense question. I mean, it's grammatically correct, sure, but it's logically empty.
He uses this analogy right at the top that I think just perfectly frames this. He says asking about screen time is exactly like asking how much outside time is okay.
And that's the core of it right there. I mean, just picture this. You go to a pediatrician and you say, "Doctor, my child spent 4 hours outside yesterday. Is that healthy?"
The doctor would look at you like you're completely insane because they can't answer you. Outside isn't an activity, it's just a location. Are we talking about playing tag in a park with friends?
Or walking alone through a war zone? Exactly. Or, sitting in a traffic jam, inhaling exhaust fumes. Or hiking in a national park. They're all outside time.
But they're completely different human experiences.
Precisely. And Collison's point is that screen time is just as lazy of a container. We take these vastly different activities, learning, fighting, creating, zoning out, connecting, and we just lump them all together because they happen to involve a piece of glass.
It's actually kind of absurd when you stop and think about it. Like, we don't ask how much paper time is okay, even though reading a classic novel and reading, I don't know, a hate-filled pamphlet both happen on paper.
That's a great addition to the analogy. The medium isn't the message here. The activity is.
So our mission today is to break that glass. We need to stop counting the minutes because apparently that number tells us absolutely nothing and start mapping the actual terrain of what is happening behind the screen.
Because if we don't, we're trying to navigate this incredibly complex digital world with a map that just says, "Here be dragons."
And the terrain is fascinating once you actually look at it, instead of just being afraid of it.
Totally.
So let's look at this container of screen time. Because when you list out what counts, the variety is just wild. The source lists things like, doom scrolling TikTok for 3 hours.
Right. Obvious screen time.
But so is video calling your grandmother who lives in another country.
That also counts.
Or building a working calculator inside Minecraft. Or getting into a huge political argument on Twitter. Or coding a website.
Or creating digital art in Procreate.
Or even just passively watching those, autoplay videos of someone cutting soap.
The soap cutting videos, yes.
It's all screen time. But clearly, coding a project is not the same thing as watching soap cutting videos.
And this is where the expert analysis in the article gets really interesting. Collison argues that these activities engage completely different parts of your brain. They create different emotional states. So asking, is screen time bad?
Yeah.
Is, to use another one of his analogies, like asking, is sitting bad?
Well, sitting is the new smoking, isn't it? I feel like I've read that somewhere.
Okay, generally speaking, yes, sedentary behavior has risks. But context is everything. Are you sitting in deep meditation? Or are you sitting at a slot machine that's designed to drain your bank account and just spike your dopamine in this addictive loop?
The physical act of sitting isn't the thing that matters.
It's what you're doing while you sit.
This explains so much about why the research is so frustrating. I feel like every week there's a new headline, "Screens Cause Depression." And then the next day it's "Screens Boost Creativity."
Because the research is a mess. The source points this out. Most studies just measure duration. They look at the hours, but they don't measure the content or the context.
So they're averaging things that shouldn't be averaged.
Exactly. When you average out the kid who's learning to code with the kid who's being cyberbullied, you get a meaningless number.
It's like averaging the nutritional value of broccoli and rat poison because they're both substances you ingest.
A bit dramatic, but yes, that is the statistical problem.
Okay, so if the minutes don't matter, what does? Because as a parent or just, a person trying to have a healthy brain, I still need a way to evaluate this. I can't just say it's all fine.
No, and Collison isn't saying it's all fine. He's saying we need better metrics. And he gives us 4 specific axes. Think of it like a coordinate map to judge the value of any digital activity.
Let's run through these because this is the toolkit. The first axis is active versus passive.
This is the big one. Active screen time involves agency. You are doing something. Creating, building, problem solving.
Like the kid in Minecraft.
The kid in Minecraft or someone writing an essay or editing photos, you're the one in charge.
And passive.
Passive is when you just lean back and let the algorithm feed you.
Yeah.
You're the vessel. Autoplay is the hallmark here.
So watching Netflix.
Netflix can be passive, sure,
Okay.
but the source is really more concerned with the infinite scroll, short-form video, the stuff where you don't even choose what comes next, you just stare.
And the impact on the brain is different.
Drastically. Active use tends to be stimulating developmental. Passive use, especially for a long time, that's what creates that zombified state parents complain about. It's the difference between cooking a meal and being force-fed.
Okay, that visual is going to stick with me. The second axis, social versus solitary.
Right. Humans are social animals. The question is the screen providing connection or is it replacing it?
So social would be like playing a game with friends, talking on Discord.
Exactly. It's a LAN party, even if it's virtual. You're interacting with other humans. You're negotiating, chatting, laughing. Solitary is just isolated consumption.
That distinction is huge. One is a digital town square, the other is a digital hermit cave.
Right. And often, parents see a kid on a computer and they assume hermit cave when actually the kid is in a very loud, very active town square with 10 of their best friends.
Third distinction, chosen versus captured. This one. This one felt the most personal to me.
This is all about who's in charge. Chosen content is intentional. You go to the device with a purpose. I want to watch this documentary, or I want to look up how to fix my sink.
You're using the tool.
You are using the tool.
Okay.
And captured is when the tool uses you.
Right. It's when you open your phone to check the weather.
And suddenly it's 40 minutes later and you're watching videos of people power washing driveways.
I have done that.
We all have. You didn't seek it out. The algorithm captured your attention, and that distinction changes everything. It's not about how long. It's about who is steering the ship.
And finally, the fourth one, skill building versus skill neutral.
This one is pretty straightforward, but it's important not to be too judgmental about it. Skill building is, developing capacity, learning a language, figuring out game mechanics, editing video.
And skill neutral is just pure entertainment.
Pure entertainment. And the source says neither is inherently wrong, right?
I mean, I watch trash TV to relax. That's totally skill neutral.
Of course. We all need to decompress. The problem is when the diet is only skill neutral, passive, captured time. But if a kid spends 3 hours coding a game, that's active, skill-building, chosen time. That's high-quality time, even if it's screen time.
This really highlights why the general panic about screens just misses the mark so often.
Yeah.
The source talks about this brain poison myth.
Right. This tendency to view screens as these delivery devices for toxic material, like the screen itself is emitting some kind of damaging radiation. But Collison argues this just ignores agency. It treats us all like passive victims.
But we aren't just receivers. We are navigating. We are choosing.
The screen is a tool, not a weather event. And this brings us to context. We saw this so clearly during the pandemic.
Oh, absolutely. That was the ultimate A/B test for screen use.
Remember, a kid using a screen to hang out with their friends on Discord when they couldn't leave the house, that was a lifeline.
That was mental health preservation.
Totally. But take that same kid, same screen, same activity, and put it on a beautiful Saturday where they're using it to avoid going outside and seeing people.
Now it's a problem. Same screen, different meaning.
Precisely. And this leads to the economic concept the expert brings up. Opportunity cost.
I love applying economics to parenting. It makes me feel so rational when I'm actually just guessing.
It's a useful razor, though. The real question isn't are screens bad? It's what else would they be doing?
Right. We have this fantasy that if we take the iPad away, our kids will immediately pick up War and Peace or go invent a new sport in the backyard.
the fantasy alternative. But the reality check is important. Often, the alternative to screen time isn't high-quality enrichment. It might just be sitting alone in a room being bored.
Or watching cable TV, which for some reason got a pass for decades.
So we have to weigh the screen time against the actual alternative, not the idealized one. If the alternative is annoying their sibling, maybe the screen isn't the villain.
Speaking of villains,
Yeah.
or at least things parents think are villains,
Yeah.
we have to talk about Roblox.
The Roblox question. It's the classic case study in the article.
I hear this constantly. My kid is obsessed with Roblox. It looks terrible, the graphics are blocky, it seems so mindless. But the source does a deep dive into what's actually happening, and it turns out my assessment might be totally wrong.
It is surprisingly complex. If you just glance at it, it looks like digital Lego with annoying sound effects. But if you watch closely, it's not just press button, get reward. In Roblox, a child is navigating a really complex social environment.
They're dealing with in-game currency, too.
Yeah.
My kid talks about Robux like it's the gold standard.
And that's real economic modeling. They're learning about scarcity, value, trade. They're managing their reputation. They're practicing negotiation and conflict resolution when things go wrong.
So when they get scammed in a trade, which happens, that's a lesson.
A painful one, but yeah. It's low-stakes financial literacy. It's systems thinking. Now, the host asks the question, is playing Roblox as valuable as learning the piano?
And because I really want the answer to be yes, so I can stop paying for piano lessons.
Well, the answer is maybe, maybe not. They're different skills, but that's not the point. The point is that it's not just child plus screen equals bad. It involves complex skill acquisition. It's active, social, and often creative. It's a valid form of play.
It pushes back against that brain rot narrative. However, I want to be careful here because we're sounding very pro-screen right now.
Yeah.
The source is not saying everything is fine.
No, and it's so important we don't swing too far the other way. There are valid concerns, but again, the article argues they're specific, not categorical. We need to identify the actual dangers so we can fight the right battles.
So if screens aren't the enemy, what is? Let's list them.
First and foremost, algorithmic feeds.
The captured access again.
Specifically, the design. TikTok, Reels, Shorts. These are engineered for addiction. They use variable reward schedules. It's like a slot machine. You swipe up, and sometimes you get a dud, sometimes you get a huge hit. That uncertainty keeps you pulling the lever.
That is a specific design choice that exploits human psychology.
Correct. So the enemy isn't the screen, it's the variable reward schedule. Then there is social comparison. This is particularly toxic for adolescents.
Looking at everyone else's highlight reel while you're living your behind the scenes.
Exactly. If the screen makes you feel inadequate, that's a specific harm. Then there are the physical impacts. Sleep displacement is the big one.
This is biological, right? The blue light.
Blue light, yes, but mostly just high stimulation. If you're spiking your dopamine 5 minutes before you try to sleep, you're not going to rest well. If screens cut into sleep, you have a problem. Not because of the screen, but because of the sleep loss.
And finally, parasocial replacement.
This is fascinating and a bit scary. It's when those online one-way relationships fully replace real-world interaction.
You feel like you're friends with a YouTuber.
Yes, and if you have zero in-person friends because you feel satisfied by those bonds, that is developmentally concerning. You need messy face-to-face interaction to learn how to be a person.
But notice the pattern here. The solution to sleep displacement isn't ban screens, it's manage sleep.
Exactly. A blanket reduce screen time mandate doesn't solve the problem of algorithmic addiction. You have to address the mechanic, not just the medium.
So if we stop asking, how much? We need a new toolkit, better questions. The source gives us a checklist for evaluating digital health that I think every listener should write down.
This is the practical application. How do you actually assess what's happening?
Question 1. How do they feel after?
This is the internal state check. When your kid or you puts down the device, what's the vibe? Are they energized, satisfied, laughing, or are they drained, anxious, and irritable?
The zombie check.
The internal state matters infinitely more than the timer. 2 hours of a creative game is totally different than 2 hours of scrolling that leaves you feeling sullen.
Question 2. Autonomy.
Can they stop when they want to? This goes back to chosen versus captured. Does the usage control them, or do they control the usage? If they physically cannot put it down without a meltdown, you have a control issue.
And question 3. What is being displaced?
We touched on this. If it replaces boredom, fine. If it replaces TV, neutral. If it replaces sleep, friends, or physical activity, then you have an intervention point.
And then there's the empathy question. This one hit me hard. The host asks us to be honest. If you had access to infinite entertainment and connection at age 13, how would you have used it?
Be honest.
I mean,
Oh.
I spent hours just staring at the ceiling or rereading the back of cereal boxes. If I had had the internet, I would have never left my room. I would have been glued to it.
We have to realize these technologies are incredibly compelling. Judging a child for being drawn to them ignores the reality of how powerful and, frankly, magical these tools are. It's not a moral failing.
So where does this leave us?
Yeah.
We need to reframe the whole conversation.
We need to shift from counting minutes to noticing patterns.
The goal isn't necessarily less screen time.
No, the goal is more active, less passive.
More creation, less consumption.
More chosen, less captured. And more connection, less isolation.
Those are the metrics that actually impact a human life. 2 hours a day is just a number. Active versus passive is a lifestyle.
Exactly. The screen is just a tool. It's a hammer. You can use a hammer to build a house, or you can use it to break a window. The category of hammer time wouldn't tell you much.
And stop. Hammer time represents a very different era.
Please don't.
Yeah,
But yes, we need to drop the panic so we can finally start teaching our kids and ourselves how to use the tool well.
That is the big takeaway. Stop looking at the glass and start looking at the human.
That's the mission.
That wraps up our deep dive into screen time panic is a category error. It's a lot to think about next time you reach for your phone to check the weather and end up watching hydraulic presses.
Try to stay in charge of the tool.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.